Grand Theft Auto is arguably the most successful entertainment franchise in human history. It has generated over $8 billion, altered pop culture forever, and made evading the police a legitimate career choice. But what if I told you that this entire cultural phenomenon was never supposed to happen? What if the absolute bedrock of this entire franchise wasn't some masterclass in game design, but a complete accident that nobody saw coming? Welcome to 1995. Inside a cramped beige office in Dundee, Scotland, a team of exhausted developers was building a game where you were legally obligated to be a model citizen, and it was an absolute disaster. Before it was GTA, the game was called Race and Chase. The original pitch document looked like something written by a neighborhood watch captain. You could choose to play as a criminal, but the developers actually wanted you to play as a police officer. As a cop, your job wasn't to ram people off the road. Your job was to navigate the grid-based city streets, obey traffic laws, keep your siren at a reasonable volume, and gently pull suspects over to issue them a lawful traffic citation. No, seriously. You couldn't even drive on the sidewalk, because obviously real police officers don't do that. Even if you chose to play as a criminal, you weren't running an empire. You were basically a glorified, heavily stressed delivery driver running errands on a countdown timer while trying not to scrape your paint on a streetlight. The creative director at the time, Gary Penn, later admitted the game was an unmitigated mess. The car handling was atrocious, the stability was non-existent, and playing as a law-abiding traffic cop was about as thrilling as watching paint dry on a server rack. The publisher was actively getting ready to pull the plug and cancel the entire project. But right before the game was thrown into the digital recycling bin, a developer made a routine change to the police AI's pathfinding algorithm. Now, under normal circumstances, a vehicle's AI works via destination vectors. If a cop car is chasing a player, the code tells the computer, calculate the speed and position of the player's car, and establish a destination point exactly 5 feet behind that car. This simulates a realistic pit maneuver or a standard roadblock. But due to a critical coordinate error, the math completely broke. The algorithm stopped seeing the player's car as a physical object to pull over. Instead, it designated the exact literal center of the player's vehicle as the cop's final destination. This minor syntax failure completely deleted the concept of braking from the police artificial intelligence. Because a computer can never physically occupy the exact same spatial digital coordinates as another object, the AI reached the player's car and just kept accelerating. The police officers didn't want to arrest you anymore. The code had inadvertently turned them into homicidal, suicidal, infinite momentum battering rams. The next morning, the playtesters booted up the new build, expecting to test standard traffic loops. Instead, they were met with absolute cops and robbers battle. The moment a tester committed a minor infraction, 10 police cruisers would manifest out of nowhere, ignore red lights, flatten pedestrians, drive over roofs, and smash into the tester's car at 100 miles an hour until the entire screen exploded into a ball of 2D fire. The dev team braced themselves for the complaints. They thought the game was officially dead. But when they walked into the testing room, nobody was complaining. The testing room was in absolute hysterics. The playtesters had completely abandoned the structured design document. They didn't care about the missions, they didn't care about the racing, and they definitely didn't care about the traffic tickets. They were spending hours doing nothing but intentionally triggering the psycho cops just to see how long they could survive the unhinged, explosive pursuits. The bug hadn't ruined the game. It had accidentally uncovered a fundamental truth about human psychology. Running for your life from broken AI is incredibly fun. The team at DMA Design made a historic choice. Instead of fixing the bug, they built an entire empire around it. They stripped away the polite law enforcement simulation, turned the player into a permanent criminal, tweaked the chaotic police AI to make it the central pillar of the gameplay, and changed the title to Grand Theft Auto. If it weren't for a minor mathematical glitch in a pathfinding loop 30 years ago, the open-world legendary game as we know it might not even exist. So the next time your code throws an unexpected error or your software breaks in development, don't panic. You might not have a broken program. You might just have a multi-billion-dollar franchise waiting to happen. Hit subscribe and let me know in the comments, what's the best video game glitch you've ever encountered? Stay logical. I'll see you in the next one.